Hey, what's good, y'all? It's Lucky Luch here. Welcome back to my room and my YouTube channel. I realize I haven't been talking about music much on this channel, so today I wanted to talk about 5 of my favorite albums. I'm not going to do an honorable mention. I feel like that would be a CVS list worth of albums. Don't bean soup. Obviously, I listen to way more music than just these 5 artists or these 5 albums. I just gotta say that in today's world, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get into the list. Starting off strong, we have Illmatic by Nas. This album was released in 1994 and is 10 tracks long. Why does that matter? Because modern albums are way too long. This is pretty close to a perfect album, if not a perfect album, and it's an all-time classic. It's Hip Hop 101. It's on every 50, 100 album list, or at least it should be. And it's what hip hop is really all about at its core. Cool beats, good rhymes, good storytelling, similes, metaphors, all from the rapper's or the storyteller's perspective. This album also has a lot of value. Due to its short runtime, it has a lot of replay value. Like, I'm sure by the second or third listen, you can rap all of halftime. Before blood, I take out my fronts, then I start the front. Matter of fact, I be on a manhunt. You couldn't catch me. It's just really slick, well put together in a small package, and it's very direct. It doesn't necessarily take the scenic route. It doesn't take the quickest route. It kind of has like a little bit of a hybrid, which just makes it even more unique. And the fact that Nas wrote this album as a teenager will always be impressive. And like I said, this is Hip Hop 101. This is what hip hop is all about. This kind of comes right after hip hop's birth and just really makes a statement. Even today, Nas is regarded as one of the greatest rappers ever because of Illmatic. This is where it started. Yeah, that's the first album I kind of wanted to talk about and start off this video with. Next up, we have Charm by Claro. This is another album that is short and perfect. It only has 11 tracks. I think the runtime is about 38 to 40 minutes. And wow, is this a glorious listen. Before I get into the album, Claro was one of those artists where the same few songs kept on popping up, and I liked them. And then they would wind up on my playlist on Spotify. And I keep on seeing this name. I see Claro, and I'm like, you know what? Let me do some investigation. So finally, I think in early 2024, I want to say, I clicked on it and I had liked Forever, that hookup song, Something Real or Fake. I forgot. I'll add a screenshot somewhere. And then I already had liked, I think 3 or 4 songs off of this album. So I was like, oh, okay, let's go take a full listen. I listened to it front to back. I was in awe, y'all. At first I was like, yo, this sounds like it was recorded on tape. It sounds like one of those old school 70s kind of soul albums. Turns out that they did record this on tape, so it does have that feel. Less instrumentation, the production is absolutely amazing, the songwriting's very unique, and what I love is that there's a lot of solos. There's a piano solo, I think somewhere, there's a trumpet solo, probably a clarinet as well. It's flirtatious, it's warm, it's inviting, and it's also very versatile. This is an album I can play burning a candle, sipping some wine by myself, with somebody at a small gathering, dancing with them. This can be played next to a fireplace when it's snowing outside. This can be played on a late summer night when it's still kind of hot outside, but the night is slowing down, you know what I mean? And yeah, upon the first couple listens, I was charmed. I went to go see Clara at Gov Ball, and it started raining, and it was just super romantic and really emphasized the vibe of this album. I think I have it on CD actually. Resurgence of physical media. I wanted to get a few of my favorite albums on CD. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Charm, I totally recommend putting people onto this album, and it's always yeah, this is alright, and I'm like, man, whatever. Yeah, I don't feel how I feel about this, and that's okay. But just know I love this album. Clara, if you ever want to make out, I'm down for it. I consent to that. And now we have an album that changed my brain chemistry. I'm talking about Man on the Moon 1 by Kid Cudi. There were a few works that were in the running for this list. Man on the Moon 2 features some of my favorite songs by Kid Cudi, but ultimately it's too dark. And then Indie Cud was really experimental. It only has like a few standouts. You know, there's some wacky tracks on there. So that leads me just back to the beginning with Man on the Moon 1, because I remember just being a junior in high school, driving around the back roads of my hometown, being amazed at what this album was doing. It was dark and melancholy, but also bright and optimistic at the same time, and it goes back and forth between that. And this album looks how it sounds, down to the album cover, and it sounds how it looks. He is taking you on a trip through his mind, through his deepest, darkest thoughts, through his brightest, loudest thoughts. And it makes for a wonderful listen. The choruses are so big, bright, stacked, and they're harmonizing so beautifully. It's just like a wave of emotion coming at you. This is probably the most cohesive you'll get throughout Kid Cudi's discography. And the narration, I believe it's 5 acts told through Common. It's just, like a little cherry on top. We get like a really good hero's journey, which is really dope. Cudi's rapping is super unique. His singing is unique. The in-between rapping and singing that he does. Obviously like the little humming that he's doing here and there, right? This is just a very healing album. You go back and listen to this and you're like, wow, this really is a breath of fresh air. This changed the way people listen to rap music. This changed the creative process for a lot of people. This album made me want to make music sound like this. So yeah, Cudi's one of my favorite artists ever. And I'll always give whatever he's working on a shot because I know it's going to be experimental and unique to him. And I know he's always going to put his best foot forward. Whether the album turns out to be good or not is a whole other conversation. But I'm always going to give him a chance because he's always pushing the boundaries on what a Kid Cudi album is. And I feel like we got to appreciate that, right? As music lovers, as art lovers, that's super important. So love you, Kid Cudi. Thank you so much for being you and making the soundtrack to our lives. Also, Pursuit of Happiness is one of the greatest songs ever. I wanted to put a Drake album on this list. I know he's highly controversial, the beef with Kendrick Lamar. My feelings about Kendrick Lamar, it's probably weird to have a Drake album on this list. During the mixtape era, the rap vlog era, Drake was a big figure during this time. And I just remember like 2007, 2008, like coming across his music on MySpace and leaks on the Mascarilla, stuff like that. So Drake has made an impact. Also, I like the singy, songy, melodic rap stuff. So, hearing Cudi around this time, hearing Drake around this time, they really made an impact on music I listened to, but also the stuff that I wanted to create as an artist at the time. Going through his discography, I didn't know which album I wanted to pick. There's just so much to choose from. There's also mixtapes, but we're talking about albums, so I don't really want to count a mixtape as an album. I think those are two separate things. Maybe another video in the future. So looking at all this, I went with Nothing Was the Same. Similar to Man on the Moon, this album sounds how it looks and looks how it sounds. Drake's head is up in the clouds. And there is a huge section of this album that just gets kind of weird, kind of experimental, which for Drake's, at least rapping and singing stuff, he never really made an experimental album. Like he does have Honestly Nevermind, which is mostly house beats and he is singing and stuff, but I feel like Drake hasn't made like a art project kind of album, you know what I'm saying? And I think this is the closest that we ever got to that. Come Through is probably one of my favorite songs. Just Hold On, We're Going Home. I love that song, y'all. I sing the hell out of that. I can't even sing that well, but I love listening to that song. It just makes me so happy. It makes me want to grab somebody and dance with them. Come Through is such a vibe, and then you have like the beat change. A lot of beat changes on this album too. The fact that this starts with Tuscan Leather, and he's just rapping and going off. He's just talking his talk. You know what I mean? But then you get into this section of just weird beats and stuff that's just like all over the place. Wu-Tang Forever, I think, is a super unique song. The formatting is like chorus, verse, chorus, and then the song is just done. The beat's hella weird. Own It is also weird. Like there's one part where it's just all these like different own it, own it, own it, own that. And then Drake is like harmonizing all crazy and stuff. Like just really, really weird choices. Connect. The language is another banger on here. Like 305 to My City is a weird one. I remember he was on a late night show doing Too Much. And I think that's the song that really solidifies this album before you even get to the rest of it. Then obviously Come Through, a song that I just mentioned like 4 times. And All Me, I mean, I love Big Sean's verse. So I just think this is a really cool album. It's not necessarily a perfect album. It might not be Drake's best album, but it's probably my favorite one. Just because you get so many styles and flavors and a little bit of weird. You get a little bit of weird experimental Drake. And I appreciate that now more than ever because I think he's just an artist that has played it safe or played with trends more so than he's played with his sound just to be creative. At least that's my perspective anyway. So, yeah. Last, I want to talk about Trap Soul. When this album first came out, I listened to it. I remember hearing Don't on SoundCloud, and then, this album dropped and soon after that, and I thought this album was good. I wasn't all by it yet, and then I went to this place called the Nug Spot, like a few blocks east of Union Square down in Manhattan. Doesn't exist no more, RIP. But I was waiting for my order, and the person behind the counter and whoever was working in the back started harmonizing and singing Overtime together, and they sounded good. And I knew that song was off this album, and I'm like, I gotta give this another listen. And then I would go like somewhere else, and one of the other singles would play, either Exchange or Don't. And then me and the homie started listening to Rambo heavy because the rapping on there was so good. And then I decided one day to just take a walk around Harlem, put on my headphones, and listen to Trap Soul front to back. I might have been going through something at the time too, and I just really absorbed this album for the first time, and I never looked back since. And this album will always probably be in my top, along with a few others on this list, obviously. Let 'Em Know, right after the intro, is just such a statement. Like, it's about time I do it. It's about time I say that. Like, the rapping on here is so aggressive. Some of the singing performances are really good as well. And then you have a mix of both throughout this album. And then you have like the beats and the style. And it's like, is he a rap artist? Is he an R&B artist? Is he a singer? Is he a rapper? Like, what is he doing here? And then post 2015, you see a lot of rappers taking influence from Trap Soul. You see a lot of singers taking influence from Trap Soul. You see a lot of people referencing this album. Bryson Tiller is not the biggest artist, but this album is one of the biggest albums. And I think it has a historical importance that has been recognized, I feel like, by listeners and maybe some artists, but I feel like it's not recognized by the mainstream. I could be a little bit wrong on that. But I think as time goes on, we realize how great Trap Soul is. This is like a truly incredible album that changed the way people listen to R&B, that changed the way people listen to hip hop, that merged both hip hop and R&B in a weird way. This album is dark, moody, and passionate. It has drive. It has edge. It's a little bit of a storm. And then as this album is ending, you kind of see the glimpse of a rainbow, but you don't get the whole thing, right? This is just one of those albums where it's like, if you've never listened to it front to back, please do yourself a favor and jam out the Trap Soul, because it's an absolutely incredible experience. And if you do it for the first time, I'm jealous, because this is up there with albums I wish I could listen to. I wish I could listen to this front to back again, that week it came out, and have the perspective I have now of it. But I guess that's the beautiful thing about albums, right? We can go back to these works of art months, years after, and get a totally new perspective on them. And that's the beautiful thing about music. And just to prove to y'all I'm really about this life, we got Man on the Moon, we got Charm, we got Trap Soul, baby. So yeah, these are just some of my favorite albums, pieces of art that have truly made an impact on me, and that I love. Like, I go through periods of, usually like when the summer's first starting off, I'll go back and I'll listen to some of these albums. Also ones that I would include that aren't on this list, like Damn by Kendrick Lamar, Views by Drake, Beach House 3 by Ty Dolla $ign. For some reason, I really like those albums a lot. And so, that along with those, I'll go back and like, I'll just listen to them from the back just because, it's, I don't know. It's like a weird tradition that I have where I'm like, once a year I go back and listen to these cover to cover, or I guess song to song. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. All right, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Lucky Luch. I post on this channel every Tuesday, and I just talk about whatever I want, really. Let me know, what are your favorite albums? You can give me 2, you can give me 5, you can give me 10. Do you guys have any recommendations for me? That would be great. Thank you so much for being here and donating your time, liking, subscribing, commenting. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to change my life through YouTube, y'all. I ain't got no job right now. Anyways, I'm out of here. Peace.